Hey everybody, it's your girl Jay from DCSC Talks. If you haven't, follow, like, and subscribe us on our social media websites at DCSC Talks. And I'm going to go over the Takeoff update. We all know that Patrick Clark and Cameron Joshua have been arrested in the case, but the question is who's next, and we're going to cover the information on both Patrick and Cameron's upcoming court date. And before I get into any of the information, I just want you all to know that everything that I go over is alleged and it falls under Fair Use Act and is used as purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, scholarship research, etc. So today, the Houston Police Department did the news conference with disclosing the information that Patrick Clark has been arrested for the murder of Takeoff. And as you can see here, that the file date was today, 12/2. The cause was criminal. The offense is murder, and we're going to kind of get to that in a few seconds. And he is currently in jail. Um, Everybody on social media is reporting that this person is also known as DJ Pat, and he is known as in the Houston area. But as of right now, there's not any connection to either Migos or the Prince family, really. As of right now, any facts or receipts as far as that's concerned. In the press conference earlier, it was stated that Mr. Patrick Clark had prior cases and the chief didn't really want to go into it. I have been doing some research, and as of right now, the only case that's coming up in Houston is the case that was disposed of back in 2018, and that was also a shooting investigation. As you notice that the charges on 12(1) and 2 refer to murder, and I'm going to go into that on my before I end the video. But I just found that interesting that the chief said earlier that there were two other investigations, possibly, allegedly. However, those are not documented out there where we can corroborate that information. So they may be ongoing cases in which charges haven't actually been brought yet. And finally, I went in and I pulled up um, Cameron Joshua again, and he will be going back to court on December the 7th. And I was just interested in this particular case file because I wanted to see if at some point they were going to upgrade his charges or what the ultimate disposition is going to be. Are they just going to get him on the bond violation, probation violation, felony to possess a weapon because he's a prior convicted felon? Only time will tell what is going to happen with Lil Cam. But he will go back to court on December the 7th, and that is probably, again, to deny bond or basic motion hearings that happen initially when a person is detained, arraigned, just the normal process that they go through. And also, Mr. Patrick Clark, he is going back to court on Monday, December the 5th. So that will probably be an arraignment, a bond arraignment, and I will be bringing that information to you as it breaks. So there's still just some questions to be answered, and we're going to start with the first one for me is what started the argument. It's alleged that Quavo was arguing. The chief said today that there was, so that's kind of confirmation that there was a dice game and there was an argument or altercation outside of the bowling alley. We know that far as what we've seen, but we also have to keep in mind, because I did a video earlier this week with people editing the video that was done some years back and using that as current information. You have to think about it. When that information, when whoever recorded, they sent that information to TMZ, either they edited it before they sent it to TMZ, if TMZ did some edits. So in reality, we have bits and pieces of what happened that night, but we can put together some of the things and like some of the key players that might have been there. But if you don't have the uncut footage, then we really don't have a full scope of the picture. But based on what we have, is also alleged that Jay Prince was involved. It does not look well for him, because when he walked by Takeoff's body, he was very condescending. Like, don't ask me sugar honey iced tea. I don't want to have nothing to do with this. Whoop-de whoop-de woo. So right now, like, it's a difference between, and you'll hear a lot of media outlets being tried in the court of public opinion, which is YouTube, the media, etc., and actually being charged in the court of criminal law. And we can drag them all day in the court of public opinion, because I mean, we saw it with our own eyes. It looks sus. They lost their credibility, because in the industry, how are you going to have people checking in your city, whether it's for safety, whether it's just to hang out with you, or whether or not they're just entertainers looking for that added level of security. And with both Duke the Jeweler, and I'm not saying Duke the Jeweler checked in with the Prince family necessarily, because we don't have any receipts on that, but we know Takeoff and Quavo did. And for them to for Takeoff to ultimately lose his life, that's just not acceptable, because when you dealing with any business arena, it doesn't have to be the music industry. Like, your word is your credibility sometimes, and that's all you have. So again, right now, there's nothing been brought in the court of law against Jay Prince or the Prince family in relation to any connection. But in the court of public opinion, it doesn't look good. Like, I mean, it is what it is. But I can't really go into that, because a lot of that stuff is alleged, and I bring you facts, love, and truth. So, second point, if Lil Kane was not the killer, who was he shooting at? Like, okay, y'all saying that we know he had a gun, we saw that, whatever. Y'all saying he wasn't trying to kill Takeoff, or he won't be charged in that. So was he shooting at Patrick? Like, make it make sense, Like, who was Patrick shooting at? Who shot first and why? But that goes back to the altercation, the argument, what that was about. And kind of like when you get in the meat and potatoes of that, I think people will actually start finding out the real cause of why it escalated to where it did. And so, last but not least, I noticed on, and I got it marked as number one, but I noticed on Patrick Clark's documents that they said that he's been charged with murder, felony murder, F1 murder. You'll see it. You can see it on the documents in the previous slide. So in the state of Texas, murder can be charged in 4 different ways. The first one is murder. The second one is capital murder. The third one is manslaughter, and the fourth one is criminal negligent homicide. So, Mr. Clark is being charged with murder. Patrick Clark, DJ Pat, whatever y'all want to call him. I'm a respectful person. I don't know him, so I may use titles, but he's been charged with murder. And so in the state of Texas, murder is almost always first degree felony, because this charge applies when the defendant allegedly knew that he or she would cause the victim's death. But I highlighted this, and I thought this was kind of eye-catching to me. Murder is also charged when a person engages in a dangerous act that causes the death of another person. In cases where death is caused during the commission of another felony, murder might be charged instead of manslaughter. So basically, they're saying that first degree felony murder, um, it can be charged when the defendant allegedly intends on causing the death of the victim, or felony murder can also be charged with someone just engaging in a dangerous act, and also in the commission of another felony at that time. So that leads me to believe that something else happened with Patrick Clark, because if he was shooting back at somebody and didn't necessarily intend on killing Takeoff, then why didn't they charge him with manslaughter? So it appears, and this is alleged, that like right now that they have another dangerous act, or and like they said, in cases where death is caused during the commission of another felony. So he was committing a felony of doing this, and then also the felony act of murder. They are going to charge him with murder and not manslaughter. So say for instance nobody else necessarily may have been shooting and he pulled this gun out or something. I know it's a crazy hypothetical and his gun went off. Then they may have charged him with manslaughter because there was no other crime being committed at the time, and the other crime may very easily be the dice game, because like they ain't had no legal setup. So, with all that, we have more information that's going to be coming out next week. Like I said, I'm going to stick with facts, love, and truth. I'm not going to bring information. I'm going to try to keep the content where I'm bringing you real, relevant information for those that want to see justice in the Takeoff case and any other case. This your girl Jay from DCFC Talks. Please like, follow, and subscribe my page. Peace.